You don't deserve me being in pajamas 24/7, seeing as that was your determination to make me a pajama rando. To make me a pajama rando for the rest of my days, even though I'm a very intelligent woman. I am God-fearing, I am essentially a viable citizen of society, and yet you have made me just this pariah, this outlier. I do in this ministry what I do to evidence to people that, jealousy is doing this to a person. Like there is a human being killed in broad daylight. That anybody that would gaze at my content would understand this is what people do when they persecute the body of Christ. This is what people do. This is the extreme that people are willing to go in order to satiate jealousy. These are the extremes that people are willing to go to satiate umona. These are the extremes that people are willing to go in order to satiate jealousy. And so therefore them be humiliated when ultimately I am proven innocent and they are evidenced as having thrown me out on a limb, but for no other reason but jealousy. They have to look that shallow. They have to look that shallow. They have to look that horrifically shallow. Now, I want to show you what the past couple of years of my life have been like and what success I have achieved, what prosperity I have achieved in being made thrifty because I have nothing, and in also rocking up, pitching, arriving, essentially, in spite of people saying, you're going to sit and gather dust, in spite of people making a determination that and listen, merely exist, despite their determination for my mere existence. I want to show you how I have made a decision to rather pitch where I can, that what small seed I have planted, the Lord, my God, will water it. And so therefore, so understanding in people as to how far and how deep this witchcraft stuff goes, and how it is that if you as a human being are not intentional in keeping yourself alive, if you don't keep yourself defibrillated, if you don't keep yourself like one who has hope, those who are trying to make you hopeless, aimless, and nothing, that want to reduce you to hollow note and ash will succeed. Because this stuff goes deep and it goes far, it goes wide. This here affliction on people goes so deep and so wide that absent of an intentional determination to evidence that you're not going to come free. Essentially, breaking out of sorrow by embarrassment. You have to work tooth and nail to embarrass your hostage takers, that it might be evident to everybody when you are in this position that you are being killed. Not so much because if people want to finish what they want to finish, they will finish it, but that they might understand thoroughly with every bone in their body when they finish what they've started, that it might be comprehended by everyone looking at them on the periphery, seeing as they tend to be so feared with so many psycho fans and so many people out here freaking out of, well, what are they going to do to me? It must be evident, it must be clear that, oh, so this is how you kill people. Essentially, they must lose popularity, they must lose respect, they must lose once they have murdered Christians. Because, God hands wicked nations over to the martyrdom of saints. He lets them kill us sometimes. He lets them end us sometimes for no other reason but to help the world encircling know that this is the country that you're living in now. If you don't capitulate to occult magic and the practitioners therein, if you don't let yourself get taken, you're gonna just die like Garab. Perfectly viable, perfectly salvageable, perfectly healthy, perfectly livable, working. And yet, she was killed in front of everybody. Like, she was literally killed in front of everybody. So, all of y'all, you better keep yourselves in a bunch, or you're gonna end up like Garab. And a nation like that, or a structure like that, ultimately gets exhausted from the wickedness down in the streets. Men are gonna pride themselves in accept a proposal being the satanic human sacrifices that they are. No. Let them get into my funa. Let them get every last one of their wildest dreams fulfilled. Let them realize their wildest fantasies. Let them enjoy running people around in a maze until they surrender. Let them run a country with that much fear and see how long their structures link. I want to show you what I've been doing for years and why this is proof of the fact that your witchcraft is not working. God is. And if at all my life is not coming up for air, it's not that the Lord can't rescue. It's that in certain spaces, God won't rescue his people. It's not that he can't do it. Is that he won't. Because nobody says to God, nobody throws fireworks at God's feet and expects him upon them being lit to jump. As the firecrackers are like going pa 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 ta ta pa pa pa. And then God is like woo, 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 jumping up and down. You don't throw fireworks at the feet of God and expect him to jump. Like he is not omniscient or whatever, omnipresent. Like God is not omniscient or omnipresent enough to be able to anticipate that fireworks are going to be thrown at his feet. He knows everything that's coming his way. Therefore, if there appears to be no deliverance for saints, it's that a country's been handed over. When there appears to be nobody coming through for Christians, that's when you enter into a dark ages. If at all the Lord has shown you, Mamela, South Africa, you are dead and dying. You are ebatong. Yes, I've been saying it for years. This country is gonna lose. It's standing on an international scale. You're facing so much hardship. You're facing so much economic downfall. You are facing so much civil war. You are facing such an unrecognizable country that I don't know why you still want to force women to marry you when your nations are dead. Who corrupt in this country, y'all? The corruption in this country goes so deep. Ooh, well, the corruption is so extreme that you see it go discam. We wanna go leaks and I've been guys, today when I came back from where I went, I remember thinking this is just corruption. It's not inflation. This is corruption. It's not inflation. This is predatory pricing. It's not inflation. Because if it was inflation, if it was true economic hardship for everything and everyone, that is just a knock-on type inflation on everybody, like as in every industry is impacted, every shop, everyone that can retail is impacted, then everybody would have done this to their prices. You see the corruption, you see the predatory pricing, you see the business practices that are unsavory. When you go everywhere else, when you've been made thrifty like I've been made thrifty, when you have been made industrious like I've been made industrious, you see the corruption. The Bible says, seek and you will find, knock and the door will be open to you. Hallelujah, hallelujah, like the song. If you seek the Lord's face, he will open your eyes as to what's going on the ground by opening your understanding to his word. When you draw near to God, he will draw near to you. And when the Lord has drawn near to you, he reveals secrets to you. He shows you what's going on. He makes out of you a messenger in that space. He makes you salt and light in that ecosystem. He will enable you to peruse aisles, ecosystems, environments that other people not necessarily are not perusing them, but they're not careful to observe certain things in those ecosystems because they don't have to observe carefully in those ecosystems. I have had to be thrifty and industrious and so therefore extremely observant of things like prices because of my situation, my life situation, because of where I find myself. And I would imagine that a lot of people understand what I understand because they've also been placed in poverty. But they don't have the kind of ministry that I have. They know what is going on the ground. They know, they see it, but they don't have a platform where to voice it. Neither do they have suspicions of what's going on in the country. I am suspicious of this nation, and I've been suspicious of this nation ever since I got thrown into obscurity because I've been getting prophecies, I've been getting dreams, I've been getting visions. The Lord has been speaking to me. So, of course, I'm suspicious of the nation in a way that other people that have made the same observations as me, being that they're not suspicious, don't therefore make these kinds of declarations on a podium. I guess that's why the Lord has to set apart his people, that they might be able to identify such corruption as this. So, night before last, I was watching one of these Bible channels that explain the Bible. I forgot which one it was, but essentially this particular narrator was explaining the book of Amos. And I remember just thinking, it's been like that for a minute, hasn't it? Yo, it's been like that for a minute. It has. Stuff has just been going on a loop. You know how there is a saying on earth that history repeats itself? Well, there is also a scripture in the Bible that verifies that this is a reality. In the book of Ecclesiastes, where it is written that there is nothing new under the sun. The same issues that were going on in the days of Amos, so as to prophesy to Israel, were happening right here, down here in these streets, are happening now today. The same things happening then, they're happening here now today. And so therefore, if there's nothing new under the sun, if there is nothing new under the sun, and history is repeating itself, therefore you necessarily must also imply that how God is going to respond to certain behavior is similar to how he reacted back then. So if you're freaked out or trepidatious by the God of the Old Testament, my darling, understand that if at all your country looks anything like what it is that he was rebuking Israel for being in the days of Amos, if your country looks anything like that's your judgment, that's what's coming to you. Also, the other day I was listening to exposition on Obadiah, and we're gonna get into that because y'all know I can talk for hours. But before we get into it, so you can understand South Africa, what's coming to you. Listen, God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. There are people trying to threaten me. There's no other way that you're gonna find anything did in this country unless you settle for these people who are heavy into black magic. I want you to understand that Batubana that are so full of pleasure. 2 Timothy 3, there is a character flaw therein of a people group where it is written of them that they are lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying the power thereof. So they're hedonistic. So they not only lovers of money, go read 2 Timothy 3. In the last days, perilous times will come, and then there are descriptions. Lovers of money, lovers of self, boastful, proud, etc. Lovers of money also are those who are involved in very unsavory business practices. They get money by any means necessary. They're full of corruption. And so they're business leaders that just absolutely vehemently defraud the country. They decimate economies and they impoverish the poor. They leave people out in a limb in order to line their pockets. And they also, however, over and above being lovers of money and so therefore unsavory businessmen and women, they are also lovers of pleasure. So They acquire money, wealth, assets, and then now they just want to enjoy their lives. They're hedonistic. So what then is involved in pleasure? Wife seeking or girlfriend seeking, womanizers, philanderers, sex, partying, drinking, eating, getting your fill of the earth, pleasurable activities to the wealthy that are corrupt, however, because not all wealthy people are corrupt. To the corrupt wealthy. Pleasure seeking involves grabbing and taking different as you want. Anyone among those that you imagine are your servants at your mercy. You think the whole world is your playground. On the heads of people you dance. So beautiful women that are going through a lot, I'm taking it. Beautiful girls whose parents are stingy, miserly, I'm taking it. Handsome young men, they're my slave, I'm taking them. And I might even also take them sexually and sodomize them. Human beings are there for your consumption. When you are wealthy, you eat the poor. That's what you do. You eat the poor. So you are a lover you are a lover of money, lover of self, and so you're corrupt in your business. And because you're also a lover of pleasure, rather than a lover of God, you also eat the poor. These things are intertwined. So me being poor, I am being sought for the devouring by these wealthy crazies, and I'm here to expand on that particular topic, that particular conversational discourse, that you might comprehend what's coming to you, baby. That you might comprehend what in the world and the heaven is about to hit you upside the head, like the song, oops. Upside the head, said oops, upside the head. Listen, it's coming. My industriousness has enabled me to make these observations not only just this year or just today, but over the past couple of years. And if at all it's an epidemic, if it is a gangrene that has been spreading over very many years, my honeys, my bumbles, and my sugar plums, it means that we are kind of far gone in the whole thing. If it was bad at the very entry point of my sorrow, honey, it's worse now. Because in the early stages of my sorrow, because of the way that I was just enduring so much at the hands of my family, I ended up getting my own apartment. I was living in 4 ways. And this was just like 2 years into my sorrow. I'm in it now 11 years, right? And I lived for 4 ways, having paid rent for a year, using my pension money. So therefore I was there for a year, and I was shopping in that region, in that area. I ran out of money, and I had to now start to be really thrifty and eat. I had to find a way to eat. And I taught myself how to basically just, live on a crazy budget, eat just enough. Because I was always fasting, only eating 1 meal a day, it went a long way. But I would like make my own bread. I would make so I started buying things like flour as opposed to just a loaf of bread. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I went through a lot, right? I never imagined that I would ever undergo food insecurity, but I went through it. And during that season, I had to be thrifty pertaining food. I couldn't just buy what I wanted to buy off the shelf of Pick and Pay, off the shelf of Checkers. And that's when I started to notice just these disparities in prices. And that's when I started to try and see if I can find cheaper products here and there. That's when I started to discover that price does not necessarily equate to quality, and that it is possible to get quantity for high quality insofar as you know how to look, where to shop, where to go, right? So yeah, that's when it started. And that was, like I said, 2 years into my sorrow. So I was entered into this like in 2014, 15, 16, this is like 2016. We're now in 2026, look at that, 10 years later, okay? We're now in 2026, and listen, it's still going on. It's still giving. The situation is still out here, manifesting gnarly. If you can afford to mark down a price at a store, to clear the stuff off your shelves. It says that you have had to add meat, you have had to add fat onto there to make it possible for you to put stuff on sale, and then put sale stuff even over and above sale stuff being on sale, more so on sale. To just keep marking things down. Barely ever do stores mark things down to cost unless they're closing shop, unless they're liquidating, unless they are, as a company, essentially dead. If you are not a dead company, you are highly unlikely going to mark anything down on your shelves to cost. So so stores are always making a profit. So how low can you go? Like that Arabian game, how low can you go? Riba, riba! How low can you go? Riba, riba! Underneath that rod, how low the prices go shows you how deep the corruption goes. It shows you how predatory pricing is. It's a crime in the country under competition laws. It's wrong. So it's illegal. That's why I said, like the other day in my video, I was talking about if you ignore your own laws, then God is gonna go all Old Testament on you, baby. Because if we don't have the law to run with in these 2025 streets, what do we have? So let the Lord then judge you the way that he done judged people in the Old Testament. Then you're gonna know what time it is. Then you're gonna understand. Yeah! Okay. Well, if at all you're gonna ignore your own competition laws, hey guys, wait a second, if nobody's arresting you, let Jesus arrest you, paga. If at all your judges are too, you're machuchisis, if you're machuchisis, bad chisa nabo. Like if Hong Kong, but they're not the real deal. They're not actually justice givers. They work within the justice system, but they don't give justice. They are contraband. They're fake. They're not the real deal. Baba rekile ba rasa wa tseba mos Hong Kong. Ke di rekile di rasa Hong Kong. Ke di rekile ma China in bam benkonze. Sensei. If you're Hong Kong, if Kim Dobolo wa judge, so he doesn't give justice. He studied an LLB for Dololo Mahala Nyoko. If at all, give Hong Kong yele bonus. If at all, give Hong Kong, yeah, member of parliament. If he does not actually have the true best interest of people on the ground at heart. If at all, he is not a true public servant, but a servant, eba rekiling rasa, eba rekiling machineng, eshisayo, eba bayo, like contraband, like drugs found at an airport. If at all, he is contraband judge. If he's a contraband judge, or a contraband lawyer, or a contraband police officer, contraband president, if they're not really serving the public. I know, shame. Hey, I don't know total justice. I know. Forget if if they are keeping their pockets lined, and who suffers the most when you've got like contraband judges and contraband legislators, contraband executors of the law. It's the poor. They pay each other, mamela. This has been happening. Days of Amos. See, it's been happening for a minute. If at all, those who are supposed to be public servants are not serving the public. They're serving their own lines. Their own pockets, lining their own pockets. It is the poor that are devoured whole. And those are the ones that God always takes up the cause of. Because wealthy people, you tend to be the ones placed in power, so therefore awarded opportunities to execute justice down in the street. It has been awarded you a mantle since you studied at university for all those many years. It has been awarded you to protect the weak, to protect the poor. You have been the one that has been entrusted, seeing as the weak also tend to have voted for you to be a president. They tend to have approved you as a judge. They tend to have voted you in. They swore you in. They put their faith and their trust in you. They lean on you. They trust you to maintain the separation of powers. Okay? Like you're a judge, but I mean, really, why are you kissing the behind of the president? That's the executor and the judiciary out here in cahoots. You're supposed to be separate, but you're not. When then you're in cahoots with each other. Oh, like debunked randos, you gnarly monstrosities here. You need God. You need the judgment of the Old Testament God that's just gonna clap you for being a contraband baboon. You need to get caught at an airport of an international country that even gives you a death penalty for daring having drugs in your hair. You need like something, a rude awakening where you thought you could just be a mole for drugs in a country that has got a death penalty for that kind of stuff. And then you find yourself out, you're getting killed in a foreign land. You need that kind of rude awakening and God's judgment over those that are supposed to take care of people on the ground, especially in a nation that calls itself Christian, godly, or in the Old Testament, the Jews. When you are the nation that belongs to God, and yet you out here easily make yourself contraband, the God of the Bible will handle you. My thriftiness that happened over here, as a result of a life that I've been thrown in, so I was made price sensitive, has made me discover a most gnarly corruption that's been going on for a minute in this country, and I can't tell you how long. All I know is that shortly after losing everything, I had to become price sensitive, and so therefore started looking closely at stuff like that. And at that stage, which was, like I said, 10 years ago, mamela, it was already crazy then. And I already, listen, my content, if y'all had time, if y'all were to sit in a library and just out your page through everything, comb through everything I've ever posted on the internet, including stuff that I have privatized, you will remember that I spoke about this because I've been blogging for a minute. I've been vlogging for a minute. I've been recording my journey this whole entire time. It's just that some of my stuff I've privatized it. Okay, listen, the same conversations have been leaving my tongue, and it's 10 years later, and the status quo has not changed. If anything, it's gotten worse. I can understand an economic recession, a slump, and all different kinds of other extraneous economic forces causing inflation. And so wonke umuntu gotta pay a little bit more for bread. Alright, I can understand that. But if already 10 years ago this was an issue, it says, my darling and my pumpkin and my sugar la 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 la, that thanks to our economy is going through hell on earth, especially after coronavirus, you could still afford to keep your prices exactly the same and still be maintained as a healthy country. Nice and fat and chubby, because you were already embezzling funds back there. Because that's what you're doing when you are taking money out of South Africans' pockets to line your own bank account, however beefing it up with random corporate executive in price of food. Basic stuffs, yo. What we gonna eat? What we gonna eat? Tell me, what am I gonna eat? I'm hungry. I'm hungry. Feed me. Okay. They don't want to feed nobody. It's alright, though. Nobody need to be feeding nobody, but God gonna slap the food out of your stomach. True, wealthy men and wealthy women. God knows how to judge. And we're gonna get into all that. I want to show you my purchases. Sako China, and I want to tell you what the same stuff costs for discount. So the China Mart, where I go and I purchase izinto zam kiko bana ba batho re le tlohele lona ko teng ne lo ba betrinyana ba leja ba le loma ngalacha. Despite se tlhabaleja mara ke rona taba le nna le busy ntse le ntse sefubeng le batla ke longela dintshangana tsa snacks tse ha ba qeta o leng natha lona dinko They're lovers of pleasure. But first, by the country, out of a love of money, corrupt business practices, and then they come and they want to take your 17-year-old daughter and bafuna second, third, fourth, fifth wives because they've made themselves wealthy from impoverishing South Africans. Anyway, because God says that don't repay evil for evil, but with kindness heap coals of shame on their heads. Maybe some kind of way, but so I will give you hints and tips. Just like I keep on telling you. Wiki kupalela tanko temu bosi batenang samara kanko temu an your fish ukuthi ngithenge we ngoba why ngikwamele nina nyobhadala 7,000 rand for a lace front wig enswembu kangaka when you can just pay 700 800 it's okay, baby girls, I'm here for you. Some of y'all could even make a small little earning business just by buying stuff from Temu and then reselling it. And that's why you don't do that. Or when you don't. But anyway, I'm not gonna leave you out in the lemanyon shiang pan langon valanyon valang padang fanani. I'm fana. I turn the loan so get a little China, only shopping in my English you. Honali benkeling and jana with the winkles. Cara! Oh, Henry Potgitere, how can driver or G or Tata or G or a McDonald's there or a P? Yeah, go Hill Folks. Hey yo, I gave you directions and don't be asking me what the name of that center is. It's not Hill Folks. You know that Henry Potgitere, McDonald's, right? And I think it's the only McDonald's on Henry Potgitere. So frankly, that is like your biggest hint. And then there's like what you might call this, like the center. They've got like a food lovers market. They've also got like Midas and like some other joints. All right, when I like car wash and whatnot, it's like a massive center. There's like this gargantuan China mart over there. Mame like in the Philly direction. Kopandefela, don't come at me like anything. Chances are you will find this being a thing or any China mart at all. The Chinese are smart like that in any country. They tend to maintain their sense of independence, and that's why they make so much money. That's why they tend to be so fat and so healthy in countries where they stay, and that's why they also can afford to have police stations in our countries, even though we don't know what's going on over there. They know how to thrive in South African markets, even when we're going through a recession, and they probably thrive because they don't commit the corruption that our business leaders do. So, hambani yanko China. And so therefore spend money, spend what you are supposed to spend on goods and services. And so therefore realize how predatory the pricing of South African stores is. Discover how predatory it is. And so find out how corrupt your executives are. Find out how corrupt your business leaders are. The very ones that I've been speaking about. I said that South Africa is being destroyed by the ANC. And I said that the ANC is feeding what? A big business. And amidst big business leaders are who? Those who also run the food industry. And I lamented in the food industry in particular against these big business leaders in one of my other videos and as to why it is that they're in cahoots with Islam enough to make all our food halal to a point where you can't run away from it. That is a video that I did, one of my other videos, right? So there was an infiltration of Islam, not only by big business leaders and also just predatory pricing. ANC, hey, like I said, everybody is corrupt. Maybe that's why God did not avail me or award me an opportunity to grow in corporate South Africa, because I would have been in such a moral dilemma everywhere I went that I would have struggled to be maintained as an employee in corporate South Africa. I would have struggled to be maintained as an employee in corporate South Africa because of, like I said, the moral dilemma. I would have been privy to financial models, net present value calculations. I would have been privy to books. I would have been privy in so seeking funding for my projects if I was maintained in the project management space, or even as I grew as an, when you grow and you become like an executive or a general manager, you then also look at things like books, numbers, so that you can account for your particular department. I would have just looked at how much my company is robbing customers, and it would have eaten me alive. It would have just eaten me alive. Like, listen, you don't need that much money. You can still become wealthy, a millionaire, a billionaire, being fair. It's just that people want more than they need, and they underestimate the value of scale. And so satiating everybody's needs, however, getting to everybody that can't even afford much, you get to them, and so you still line your pockets. You still make a whole chunk of money from being a provider of services fairly to people, because they will always need them, there will always be a demand. But if you cater to them and don't rob them, then you also are over and above being wealthy in right standing with God. So what is the point of making 400 million as opposed to 100 million when that additional 300 million is all the sins that you're heaping up against God? Are you seriously going to tell me that you can't survive on 100 million? You're not even going to be able to spend it in your lifetime. And there are enough people in a country to fund these people's businesses. When you have an idea that has a demand, you will make money. The problem is in the fact that you just want so much of it that you are prepared to go and be corrupt. And the Chinese model of business is showing that corruption is not necessary. It's absolutely not necessary because you scale voluptuously. When you sell things at a decent price, you get more people buying it, and so if at all you beef up a price model, you will get fewer people buying that thing, and so you will sell fewer units, but those units will retail for a lot more. Therefore, you make a profit that way. But you can be fair and sell things cheaper, however scaling with more people buying it, and so you very potentially might even make pretty much the same profits you would have made from making this thing super expensive and unreachable, therefore, by other people. You would have still made the same amount of money. It's just that you made the same amount of money from a lot more customers, whereas now you're making that money from fewer customers who are the only ones who can afford it. They then go and they pass the poor shade. Okay, Mamela. Go and drink and listen to this particular conversation. Yeah, because I'm speaking. Yeah, alright. I'm telling Bailey. China, ne? Go sister's little brother. I just told you where it's at. Eleako Hill Fox, that big chunky China mart over there. There is a superstore there. A supermarket, a lot of times over my China, so back in the day when I used to go to the Chinatown and whatnot with my mom when I was a kid growing up, they tended to sell like diaparo a lot, like clothes and cheap jewelry and whatnot. Barely ever did they actually sell food. They didn't sell food. So the whole food phenomenon and predatory pricing therein in food industries, I have only come to learn about how incendiary stuff is even there only ever since that big China mart opened. And not only that, but also when online markets opened, where regular Janes and regular Joes who aren't necessarily supermarkets that are popular, well-known, that tended to buy off or buy out smaller to medium enterprises on the online market, which is a lot more competitive. The online stores are a lot more competitive than walk-in stores, because walk-in stores rely on an individual having the knowledge of that store. They rely on people knowing that when this pass, I say go this place and Sirigisa this for this much. Whereas online stores, baby, you are helped along by this search machine, the search engine out there called Google. Insofar as you want milk, you can just type in milk and they'll show you where you can get milk across multiple online stores. You can get milk from this camp, you can get it from Pick and Pay, you can get it from Checkers, from Spa. Essentially, it compares prices for you. And there is also, if anything, on Google Shopping, it even compares prices. And it also enables you to have like a drop-down box where you can choose the range of affordability for that particular thing that you're looking for. So if you want to buy wireless headsets, you can just type in wireless headsets range from 100 rands to 450 bucks, and all the places where you can get them within this range will then pop up. Is it Take-A-Lot? Is it whatever, some other thrift store, Amazon, blah blah blah, so very many. So the online marketing space is a lot more competitive than, like I said, a walk-in shop, where it is that you gotta know that Mr. Johnson opened a little cell phone shop where he's selling earphones or whatnot. It's a lot more convenient, and I would know because before I fell in love with the online space and actually had a bank account again, because yeah, you impoverished me to a point where there was like a whole season where I didn't have a bank account. Like, you did that. Anyway, whatever. You made me poor, so poor that I was like one of those people that be out there only getting stuff through the e-wallet. Hey, guys, God, y'all have been ridiculous with me. Yes, e-wallet. That's the only way that you be making money. Finally, Standard Bank came through for me. I remember the days of e-wallet. So anyway, whatever, I finally got a bank account that just lingered and stayed from Standard Bank, because my bank accounts kept closing due to there being no money. So I just stopped trying to open one until finally Standard Bank really made me, like, it just held. Like, I love Standard Bank. Like, listen, I will never leave them nor forsake them. Like, never, ever, like, proper. They've been so ride or die. Anyway, whatever. So before, Standard Bank had a sister bank and did not close my account every single time there was no money for extended periods of time, neither give me ridiculous bank charges. Ever since Standard Bank helped me along in that fashion, I then have been able to say every time somebody wants to give me money, no, don't give me an e-wallet, no, what's that? Like, put it in my Standard Bank account. So ever since my Standard Bank account now lingered, like ever since I had a bank account that lingered, yeah, I then exploited the online market, and I realized just what games people are just dilly-dallying. Baya dancer. That's why Take a Lot elile complainile. You are corrupt, South Africa, against Temu. They guys, yes in. If you're corrupt, you're corrupt. You say that they're going against competition laws. Kanjani? You are the ones that are corrupt. Don't be after what do you call this thing? Chinese markets. Don't call them corrupt because of your predatory pricing. Because you are not able to exploit South Africans, you then out here cry. Uzo complain kuitemu. That's what South Africa did. Like online stores, like Take a Lot from this country. There's another one, I forgot which one, but the biggest one and the most baddest one was Take a Lot that complained against Temu, saying that Temu is pretty much knocking them out of competition. They took them to the competition commission over the fact that Temu is so cheap. But what do you want Temu to do? What Temu then ended up doing was pretty much increasing the price for duties. You guys will know, if at all you were shoppers from Temu Shine and whatnot, you will know there was a time when, hey, good at these places until one day your duties became so expensive that now you were disincentivized from buying from Temu anymore. You will remember there was a shift and a change, right? Well, that was because of Take a Lot and other online stores in this country taking Temu to the competition commission in this country, saying that you're knocking us out of competition. Why? Because stuff at Temu is so cheap. And with duties also being cheap, it therefore made perfect sense to go and buy everything you need from there and only pay like a cool 250 rands for duties. Now people be out to paying $1,000, 1,500 rands for duties, but it still doesn't compare it still does not compare to pretty much how much you would in total if you were to buy everything of yours from Take a Lot, how much it would cost. All right, yeah, but anyway, Take a Lot, in spite of it's still expensive in comparison to Temu and Shine in international markets and whatnot, Mara, it is a space that is cheaper than if you were to go into Boshopong over there. Why? Because Take a Lot is this joint that's got regular, back in the day we used to have Gumtree, remember? It's got regular Janes and regular Joes that want to run their own little online shops. They want to run their own online businesses, and they contract with Take a Lot and they pay Take a Lot a fee. And so they then put their stuff on Take a Lot to basically sell it on Take a Lot, and they can decide what price they want to make it. And so therefore you can find the same product on Take a Lot, retailing in one spot for 60 bucks and another spot for 120 rands and another spot for 70 rands. It is your responsibility to scan as you're searching for the cheapest one and choose that. Online markets have made that a thing, a feasibility. There was a time when I was looking for I forgot, what was I looking for? I think the earphones or battery phone. I could say, no, yeah, I wanted Bluetooth headsets. Yes, I wanted Bluetooth headsets to exercise with music in my ear. And I went to Chinatown and asked them how much they sell Bluetooth headsets for. Was it Bluetooth headset that guy quoted me for? And I was shocked out of my mind, because at the time I was yet to have a proper Standard Bank account. I was yet to have a bank account. So I had searched, because I told myself that I will search on the internet and then go to the place, right? Because I did not have a bank account to be able to make the online transaction. I searched on Temu, not on Temu, online, Bluetooth headsets. I then found just a litany of them, and I was like, wow, they're actually not bad in terms of price. I can afford them. But I didn't have a bank account, so I couldn't buy them on Take a Lot. Plus, I didn't want to pay I did not have enough of a purchase limit so as to not have to pay delivery, right? So I was gonna go there. I decided that, okay, if this is how much Bluetooth headsets more or less retail for, I'll just go to Chinatown, because I had so leaned on Chinatown over these past years for everything that I figured that they would be cheap there too. But you see, there's corruption going on everywhere insofar as you're in the South Africa of ours, right? Anyway, whatever. I told myself I'll go to a China Mart, and I go to the China Mart and I asked them, so how much are your Bluetooth headsets? What do they retail for? And this dude out here be throwing at me these crazy prices, like 450 bucks, like 340 rands, and I was like, whoa, dude. I was like, whoa, dude. I'm all like taken aback. Why are you being all corrupt all up in my grill? I was expecting you to pretty much charge me the same price that I found on the online market. Some like 150 bucks at most. Some of them were out here retailing for 80, 85 rands. And I was like, hey, Abuti, even if I could tell it was better than for me to buy them from Take a Lot and then pay the delivery, because it would still come under 250 bucks. Oh yeah, how? It would still come under 350 rands. Yeah, how? So essentially, me walking into a store still proved disadvantageous to me, because it was more expensive than the online market. I made these observations, and so that's why I don't go out no more. I just hang in front of this computer and I scan the periphery of it, and then I purchase in accordance to, that hedging. I'm able to hedge when I'm shopping online. And if at all there is free delivery, and it's in this country, even ideal, I make sure that my purchases are with over a certain limit, over a certain range, and so I get either free delivery or I calculate if I'm willing to pay the delivery fee because it's worth the while. During the time when I was looking for those very same headsets, I went to Hi-Fi Corp, I went to Macro, I went to Chinatown, and they were so much more expensive than what was going on the online market. So already online spaces, which is why so many stores have got an online version. A lot of these online spaces, evidence show, they prove. A lot of these online spaces prove that there is predatory pricing happening in walk-in stores. They prove it because if the same product, if the same bag of sugar will sell for 5 rand on the internet and yet retail for 50 rand, go check us. I mean, like that extra 45 bucks, can we talk about what's in there? What is going on? You are essentially, who, you tell me, who is mostly unable to hedge and so therefore compare prices on the internet? Show of hands. Duh, the poor. Listen, if you leave the poor out on a limb, baby, God is gonna leave you out on a limb. God is gonna leave you out on a limb. The poor are the ones that don't online shop. They're the ones with e-wallets. They're the ones that don't have bank accounts. They're the ones that walk into stores. They don't have internet where they live. They don't have Wi-Fi just going on a loop. They're the ones that essentially are being exploited by big business leaders as ones who will always buy their 50 rand gangster sugar as opposed to the 1 year 5 rand. They're the ones that when they buy things at the in stores, they're the ones that when they buy things at stores, okay, tends to be purchasing just one thing or just 2 things. You know how with delivery, if you're gonna get free delivery for your stuff, if you buy it on Take a Lot or whatever, you have to have a minimum purchase, like 600 rands minimum purchase, 500 rands minimum purchase type setup thing. The poor tend to walk into a store and they don't have. They're not going to go in there and spend minimum 600. But again, and definitely like 1 loaf of bread. They're going to go in there just to go and buy 1 bag of sugar. They're going to go in there just to buy 1 thing. So they are not only walk-in customers largely within the poor community. The majority of people who walk in are poor, and they also don't have that minimum spend. Have an internet. So if you are predatorily pricing things that are for walk-in stores, in particular, you are aware that those that you're going to most like steal from are the poor. You are aware that you're stealing from the poor and you don't care. You are aware that it is a poverty-stricken grandmother who can 50 rand. It exists entirely on the online market for 5 rand. You are aware of that. I saw that discrepancy when I went out there in the wilderness looking for Bluetooth headsets, and I finally bought them online on Take a Lot with the other things that I purchased that then came like I ended up buying them, the first ones ever that I bought, for like 140 rands, and they lasted me a good 2 years, so it was worth my while. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, Mara, go Hi-Fi Corp, they were out here robbing me daylight. They were robbing me daylight even at Macro, bulk buy, schmalk buy. They were robbing me daylight at the China Mart. And they these Muslim guys, right? They had a shop over there, and yeah, whatever. Wreaked havoc all up in my grill. Lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying the power thereof. Like broad daylight robbery. But people go to these places, these China Mart joints, right? They go there precisely because they know things are cheaper. So in walk-in stores that are cheaper like that, like the China Mart, if at all there's corrupt business practices there, they will be cheaper than discount, but they will still be more expensive than the online market, because like I said, the online market is a lot more competitive. There's a lot more things lined up next to each other that you can compare, that then will cause you to entirely just walk away feeling all insulted, like they just swore at you or whatever, at something that is priced 50 bucks more than everything else within that same product. Like, nah, you're swearing at me, you're using expletives with that extra 50 bucks. Get behind me, Satan, and then kata. You will then purchase the cheaper version. Elora is the exact same product. Yeah, Mara, I would yet to learn about the online markets for some years, okay? For some years, Mara, even before I would find out about how the unscrupulous activity, and before I would discover the unscrupulous and uncouth activity of all this beneath activity, for it is beneath me. Before I would discover this beneath activity, I was only ever searching out for cheaper alternatives, not so much in food, but just like products, like things, like, you know, the headsets and whatnot. Mara, ko dijong, More thing, Nikila stranded. There I was stranded with Pick and Pay. There I was stuck with Checkers. I was stuck with Spa. There I was stuck with Bona until I found Chinatown and Ayako Hill Fox, and then I started to be able to buy products, face care, alright, cheaper. I found a skincare joint at Chinatown that sold all the face care under heaven that I had studied about on the internet for like decent prices, slaying Dischem. And then I realized just how predatory the prices of Dischem are, because if this particular lady that sells all these products, L'Oreal, Revitalift, Garnier, La Roche-Posay, yeah, don't nobody know how to pronounce that, okay? La Posay, La Roche, whatever. All these like high-end drugstore retinols and hyaluronic acid whatnots. However, for like just a violent discount, I was like, if this woman is obviously making a cancerous profit, it's metastasizing, it's reached stage 4. And yet she is so much cheaper than Dischem. Dischem ibulala bantu unnecessarily. We don't know what's going on over there, right? So I stopped buying products, face care, or Dischem. Because listen, anybody got no time for that? Nobody got no money. I'm broke. I'm poor like a lake. So because I would not get no. So I stopped buying face care. But then I have this ever since listening to a couple of nuggets of advice on the internet machine, I have this like shake that I drink every day just to like boost my immune system, make sure that I don't pass away from a decrepit disposition of a withering away constitution. Yeah, because I get to use big words. Seeing as people are just aging me because they can, I wanted to keep my immune system in a juicy bunch. So during the time when I was still working out, and listen, I need to go back to that because I'm gaining weight. Even my fingers are fat now. The kid is not my son. I don't recognize my own fingers. It's like they're like an adopted child. Okay, anyway, whatever. Yeah, I'm getting fat. During the time when I was working out, during the season when I was working out, I wanted to create a protein, healthy shake thing to help along my muscle development. And also I wanted to bring in superfoods that were nice and cheap into my body, whatever, just to help my health cause along. And I happened during the time when I was breaking out heavy with acne, I wanted something that would like heal my skin from the inside out. So I took a whole bunch of counsel on the internet as to what helps along with that. And so that's when I started falling in love with superfoods, and I made myself a super drink, right? But of course on a budget. So I started to learn about fenugreek seeds, hibiscus. I started to learn about turmeric and the benefits of cayenne pepper, wada. So I make myself a shake every day. A shake. Come on, baby, let's do the shake. It's more like a twist, but I call it a shake. I make my own shake, and this shake is an immune shake. It's an immuno boost shake, and I believe deep down with every bone in my body that it actually is boosting my immune system. I believe it. I believe it does heal, because I haven't been sick now, have I? It works. Though I have no proof, I nonetheless trust it. Okay, so this shake of mine has been a thing going for a minute. I also want to grow my hair. It's like a ladu. Like, you know how the Indians make ladu? It's like my ladu, but instead of like my roll of something beautiful to eat, it's my drink. And I prepare it for the week, and I just hang it 10 in the refrigerator. And I drink 1 glass a day in the morning just to give me a shot and a boost, and it actually makes me feel better. You know, it does work. I believe in my drink. I can drink. Woo! And it'll grow my hair. It grows my hair. And never mind it growing my hair. This drink that I believe in, yeah, it gives me even a boost. Like, I'm always fasting, and because of that drink, I don't be feeling shakes or nothing, okay? Throughout my fasting type establishment thing, anyway, whatever. So let me blow my nose. Amen. This is evidence that I'm a human being, guys. I can woo! Until my snot comes out. And it's clear that I'm a human being. Anyway, whatever. My drink works. I know it works because in the mornings, I drink it after brushing my teeth and everything. And then I'm like, go. Yo! Give me 2 minutes. And I'm like, I'm walking on sunshine. I could wake up feeling like all drabby, like just dragging me all through the sand. I'm like, oh, I just woke up and I'm sad like sadness has never been said. Oh, I am in pain. Why am I dreaming so bad? Oh, they've done it again. These witches of South Africa, oh, they're at it again. They're coming at me with their spells. Oh, I can't stand them. And now I'm sad all day. Oh, what spiritual war is eating me alive like a maggot. Oh, 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 oh. So that's like my song in the morning. I'm just dragging my body through the terrain. It's a valley and a peak and a trough. And then I drink my drink. Upper. And then I'm like, I'm walking on sunshine. Oh, I'm walking on sunshine. Oh, and it's gonna be like, hey, listen, it's an energy boost. I'm not lying. And it also lifts my mood. Don't know what's in there. I just mix a whole bunch of superfoods. Hey, y'all who don't believe in God, hey, don't know what's gonna happen with you one day. Because the invisible qualities of God are all over creation. Food is medicine. It has power to make you feel better, and there are qualities, properties in food that can cause a person that's like, oh, when am I gonna be fine? I'm sad all the day long. I'm missing life. It's going by, right by me. It is flowing. I don't know what to do. I'm sad all the day. Ever since I was entered into persecution, I'm so sad. And the feeling is much too heavy. It's much too strong. Can I gain a reprieve just for one night? God, come through. And then God gives you macheu. Good. Next thing you're like, I'm singing in the rain, and just singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling. I'm happy again. The Lord has given me joy so high up above. I'm singing in the rain. Ooh, yeah. Don't nobody need to be taking no drugs. Just eat. You'll feel like a ray of sunshine. You won't know what you did, but it'll be right. What it is that are healthy foods that are good for the soul. You'll feel better in a day. So love the Lord, oh God, because somehow He's put joy in food. The Lord has put joy in healthy foods. All these foods that are healthy for you. You know, food that is healthy. Like, as in doctors agree, like, you know, dietitians and all these people that are with the ishans at the end of their names, of their titles, dietitians, even morticians. Yeah, okay, they will agree that healthy food makes you feel right as rain. Even the mortician will be like, it's cause you didn't eat your linseed. It's cause you didn't touch your pumpkin seeds, you got a heart attack. As a mortician, I will declare that the pumpkin seed saved her. What if? The pumpkin seed would have saved her. But she refused them and chose Rada. Die my food, I made my guinya something. Then she got cholesterol. Next thing, dwet vs. Dwet. Wat sal ek doen met die dinges? Ek het haar gecheld that you need to eat healthier. All the magicians will let you know. Dietitian, mortician, exercisician. They'll tell you that healthy food is medicine. Not only that, it actively, actually, like truthfully, like for realness, real. Like for real, makes you feel really good. It makes you feel better, listen, like ever so instantly. Listen, healthy food by human standards, as in human beings that have studied food, that have studied nutrition, and like botany, a botanist, a plant. Hey man, not Bill Gates and his weird GMO stuff, but people that have studied food, and people who also are into food for health purposes, like fitness practitioners, whatever. They will let you know that healthy food gives you a shot of energy. It actually makes you feel better. You know how when you're eating like magunya, nama food and nama care, very hectic, like very like oily, processed foods, high, whatnot, you feel heavy, right? Like a bag of potatoes, right? Like you be carrying your body around like it ain't jack. Like you be rolling around the streets as opposed to walking. Yeah, bad food will give you a spark of energy and make you happy during the season when you're eating it. But then you walk around like, you walk around like a log of nothingness. But if at all you change your diet and you eat like apples and peaches, bananas, mangoes, and you like sprinkle some turmeric all up in there,